sights, vengeance in its sights. All hope seems to die when he sees your eyes running through the night. Only takes him back, always out of sight, crowding through the night. Run, you can run, but you'll never hide. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming. Good evening. It is Sunday night, which can only mean it's extra time. Fans phone in. The last word on the weekend's action, episode 327, would you believe, of the Always Wolves podcast. And we've got a fantastic panel lined up for you today. Absolutely brilliant panel. Today, we're going to be talking, of course, about the weekend's action. We're going to be asking all our panelists the talking points from the game. We'll be asking for their man of the match, performance rating, and of course their highlight, which could be eating a bag of chips or just leaving the stadium, whatever. We're also going to be delving into that Telegraph interview, which I covered a little bit earlier in the week, but that was just my thoughts. So we're going to be getting the thoughts from you guys in the chat, and of course, whether you're listening to it back in the comments, and of course, our live panel of fans tonight on that Jeff Shee and Matt Hobbs Telegraph interview. We will look ahead to Brentford away. I'm going to be asking all of you at the end of this, including our panelists, where we're going to finish this season. And the last part of the show, if you've got any specific questions for any of the panel or all the panel, you can ask us away about that. You'll notice that this week we have another poll that's running, and I'm asking you guys, right? Are you Team Hope? Do you believe that things are going to get better from now on? Do you after yesterday, or are you Team Despair and are you doom and gloom? And I'm really interested to see who the glass half full and the glass half empty people are in regards to this. So, Carl, I'm sure you'll be watching along with Emma as well, if you can keep us updated with that poll. But everyone can join in with the poll. You'll have to jump onto the YouTube channel and just you can become a subscriber for a second, and you can enter that poll if you're watching on X or on Facebook. Try and jump onto the YouTube, and you can join in that poll as well. So without any further ado, I do want to introduce our guests tonight. Joining us, we do have Mr. Cheerful himself back in the house. I hear that there is a new Mr. Man book that is going to be written, inspired by you, mate. Mr. Cheerful.
What, Mr. Cheerful? Okay.
Yeah, well, actually, there's your twins looking over your shoulder there, with a smile on his face.
That's my younger brother up there. He's he's quite happy. Probably because he's on his hollybobs watching England, but not watching Wolves every week like I have to.
Well, there you go. And mate, it was good to, enjoy the pre-match with you. We did make a bit of a laugh. It was like the Last Supper, and we were walking towards the gallows. Obviously, your prediction 3 or 4-0 didn't turn out quite that way, but I'm going to be interested to hear your comments today. Also joining us tonight, part of the double act, it is Sutty. How you doing, mate? Good to have you back this week.
Good evening, people.
And Sutty, if you're listening to this on podcast, he is sporting one of his famous trackies. He's got a really nice blue and white feeler one going on tonight. One of the classics there, mate.
Yeah, an old one, Dave, but the old ones are still the best.
Well, this is it. They're very, very, very smart. Going to be really interesting. Obviously, we haven't had you on for a couple of weeks. I do get people like, when you're not on, we want Sutty, but like we have to try and mix it up each week to give everyone their say. But Sutty will have his say tonight. Returning from last week, it is the voice of reason himself, Jack. Jack, I had the pleasure of your company as in person as I brought my dad to do a lap with Manny, and we had a nice little natter on the way around.
Yeah.
We did, yeah. It's always a pleasure, isn't it? Especially Manny. The work that he does is incredible.
I mean, you did a couple of hours. Fair play to you. We are going to just give you an update on that in a minute. And I did a lap with my dad. Dad managed to put a post out today referring to 10-year-old babies and 87-year-old pensioners. I confirmed that my dad was the 87-year-old pensioner. And if you've seen on the YouTube channel, Manny was really lovely to him. And from what I understand from reading on socials, he has had a good sleep. And I think they've raised, over £20,000, which is an amazing effort. So with fair play to Manny. I don't know whether he'll jump in. He might jump in and watch if he's awake. But I haven't got him on tonight because I just thought, you know what, he needed a rest after that. Unbelievable. And great to have returning. He hasn't been on for a while. He's probably been out running and jogging. It's Jogger Josh. How you doing, mate?
I'm all good, thank you very much. 1 year older as of this week, but I felt it yesterday morning, but that's another story.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you back, Josh. You always have a fairly calm reflection. Now, before we go on any further, I do have to say, of course, a massive big thank you to Creation Wolf for powering extra time, delivering the industry's latest and most advanced digital solutions, taking your brand and online presence and digital capabilities to the next level. There's a link to them below in the description, or you can find them on creationwolf.com. And whilst I am talking about Creation Wolf, can you believe that 3 businesses now have been watching extra time? Really top businesses. They're now helping with their digital solutions, which is absolutely fantastic. I think they're all Wolves fan businesses as well. So get in touch with the guys and girls over at Creation Wolf. And as I say, they're top notch at what they do, and they do a lot for the channel. Rightio then. So we are going to have a couple of international fans that are going to join in, and I'm going to give one of them the option to speak first, and then we'll bring in the other one a little bit later. So this is New York. In fact, I'm going to go with Noah first of all.
Hey Dave, Noah here from Carinelli Stadium in Seaside, California. So it ends Wolves 1, Liverpool 2 at Molineux. Another tough loss. Another really tough loss. Another loss I feel like we could have gotten something from. I think overall the game was fairly open as well throughout the course of the match. Obviously the good, we scored a goal. It was great work by good combination play. Larson making the run through the middle. Almost got shielded off, and then I don't know what the hell Konate's thinking. And then he Larson just manages to get around Konate, and boom, he gets the ball, squares it back to Iduri, 1-1. And then, of course, penalty, definitely a penalty. Smeda grabs him, drags him down, and there was never any doubt, I think, that Salah was going to convert there. First goal we gave up, poor. Marking poor. Allowing the cross in, nobody stepping to the player really when the cross was put in, poor. So yeah, there's a lot we need to work on and fix. And I think that may be a bit of an understatement, but defensively, I think we had a few strides today, relatively speaking. I thought Tati and Bueno, they did the best they could, but let's be real, Tati is not cut out to be in a back four. He's just not. And I think Santi looked the better of the two. So it's on to Brentford away, and I think Brentford away is a must-win. We have to get 3 points. These are the types of matches against Brentford that we have to get 3 points from. So, anyways, on to that. Brentford next weekend, and take care, everyone. Try and enjoy the weekends the best you can, and always Wolves.
So there we kicked off. So out of the panelists, who wants to go first? Cheerful, Sooty, Josh, or Jack?
What we're talking about first. I don't mind going first, but
we're just generally talking about the game. Any talking points that you want to raise to start with? I keep looking at you, looking over your shoulder, mate. It's so distracting.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's fair at all to say Totti did very, very well yesterday. I thought he had a great game. Probably one of the better games he's had for us, and that's beautiful.
I actually thought Totti was really good yesterday too.
I actually thought Bueno had a good game. I thought our back four were reasonably good. The game in itself, I thought we did okay. I thought whilst we didn't open them up and create any really, really gilt-edged chances, particularly, I thought we had a lot of possession. We maybe huffed and puffed a little bit, but it wasn't the calamitous result that I think most of us thought was going to happen. There were some concerning things that I saw, which we'll probably come on to. I just want to know what the other lads think, but I'd like to ask, has Johnson made a save yet, and is he better than Sarr? Because I don't think.
Well, he made a point blank save from the first Liverpool chance. He saved it.
Well, he touched around the corner, yeah. But I'm
so that's the answer to your question.
I'm not that really impressed with him, to be honest. I don't think he comes to the ball as well as Sarr. Sarr doesn't come very well, and so that's saying a lot. His kicking, I know his kicking's better, but what's happened is we just seem to pass the ball back to him more and more. If you look at percentages and playing the ball back like we do, something's going to go wrong occasionally. If it's 10% and you pay 100 balls back, we're going to cause a problem 10 times. So I think whilst it's good, he can maybe control the ball and move it around better. We're playing it back far too much, which is inviting problems.
Okay.
Yeah. Game itself, I thought we were okay.
Okay. Go on then, Josh. Let's hear from you, mate.
So like Chris said, I thought game-wise, I thought we were all right. I don't think there was any glaringly obvious collapse like there was at Villa Park, and same with Newcastle. Johnston, I'm on the middle with him at the moment. Like Chris said, that passing around the back, we saw it against Newcastle. Anthony Gordon ran up on him twice. There's a glaring chance that Szoboszlai should have scored. And he did get onto it just about, which come from passing out at the back. But my problem with the passing out at the back at the moment is no one's moving upfield. That second half, when it kept going back to the North Bank and back, everybody was stood still. No one was moving. And I think that was causing half the battle while the ball was having to pass around the back. Because the ball would go out to Semedo, back into Andre. No one would move. Back the ball, back to the keeper. And there was no movement at all. And I thought that mainly happened when Larson went off. Hwang was so ineffective again. I don't know why he was even bought. I'd have put Guedes on. Because he didn't move more.
I think that's a fair point, and it's certainly going to be a discussion point again, Wang, tonight. I mean, if you've watched my match vlog when he comes on, I say, can you actually do something this week? He had one touch. It's like when he comes on, I just feel like we go down to 10.5 or 10 men because he's just so ineffective. The producer says he's got a new girlfriend and his head's in the clouds or something, but there's something ain't right with him. People have been saying in previous weeks, well, he's played out on the side. Well, he played up through the middle. And yesterday, he brought him on through the middle and he had one touch. And obviously, the passing out from the back when we needed a goal, they're obviously being instructed to play that way. But we did score a goal through doing exactly that. It was patient build-up at the back, and then we broke through the lines and we scored a goal. So it can work when it's implemented. But sometimes when you're losing, you need a little bit more urgency. It's okay doing that when you got 40 minutes to go, but when you got 10 minutes to go, you got to get the ball up the field a lot quicker because time's ticking down, and Liverpool were very happy just seeing the game out, you know, at that point, get the ball upfield, win the second. And like you say, Josh, taking Jurgen Strand-Larsen off, he is a presence up there. He will win knockdowns and second ball. He actually giving him a lot of credit because he won and didn't give that ball up for our goal. Won the ball, did something with it.
I know Shaw scored the other week, but against Newcastle, he absolutely bullied him. He bullied Shaw all game until he was took off, and then it changed.
So the question is, Jack, is taking Jurgen Strand-Larsen one of these pre-planned substitutions, or is he just worked so hard that he can only last sort of 65, 70 minutes, and then he's got to come off?
Well, I don't think it's the latter, because the last two times, Villa last week and last night against Liverpool, Larson looked baffled and bewildered when he saw his name come up. So he's not tired. He's not wanting to come off. And I think one or two of the other players were looking around thinking, are we doing this? Are we really doing this again after last week? I mean, I said last week, taking Larson off is an abysmal decision because he's your out ball. He occupies the defenders. Listen, he's against Van Dijk last night, so it's always a tough ask. But as soon as you bring Wang on against Van Dijk, they just push 30 yards up the pitch and go, well, we ain't going to have any trouble off him, so we'll just go and we'll just make it a lot easier for us. I mean, it's a poor decision. If it's a pre-planned decision, it's really, really naive. If it's something that he sees in the game, then again, going back to what we said last week, I mean, I think, to be fair, Dave, a lot of what I said last week, you can just replay today. It's a lot of it's the same old story, isn't it? You've just got to have someone up the pitch that can hold the ball up and can just push the opposition back a little bit. Especially if you're losing the game, the opposition are going to be very, very happy with you having the ball in your own half. If you've got someone you can get the ball up to and you can push up into their half, they've got to think then, and they've got to play out a little bit differently. We made that game so easy for Liverpool to see out. So easy. Most of the Liverpool fans that I've seen since the game have said they weren't very good yesterday. That wasn't the best Liverpool version of Liverpool. But we made it so easy for them. So towards the end there, that was really, really easy for them. And that's the frustration. I think going back to what Chris was saying, I don't think we played badly last night. We never looked like winning the game, but we didn't play badly. And I felt reasonably okay about it until I read what the manager said after the game.
Do you know what? I actually think we're going to come on to Sutty's points. These are the things that are your question. Larson, he's kind of like the Jimenez we've been looking for. And Jimenez, by the way, scoring goals for Fulham again. Did a penalty. Fulham are having obviously a decent season. But I thought we have started a few games really slow. And I thought we started incredibly on the front. And I know Liverpool fans have come on and said, oh, well, we wasn't very good or a poor performance. I feel like that's like what you typically hear off match of the day when a team like a City or an Arsenal or someone else have played a team mid-table or down the bottom, and they're like, well, they haven't played very well, rather than giving credit to the team they're playing. I think Liverpool underestimated us. I thought we came out. I thought we were dominant. We're full of energy. Some of the intricate football that we played, especially in the first half, was really, really good. And, we had them on the back foot. And we played really, really well. But I thought we edged the first half against Liverpool, but they created the best two opportunities. The first one, was saved by Johnston, which I thought he was going to tap in. And then the second one, really, you got to stop the cross. It's Jota. He's not a winger. Well, he likes going through the middle. And it's the keeper's going to struggle to save that header. And it was just at a really bad time again. We concede that goal in the second minute of added time. And, I thought we responded reasonably well. I thought we had a much better second half than we have done in recent games. It was up until we started to fade again, that last sort of 20, 15 minutes. We scored a really good goal, which was through playing it out from the back. Obviously, they've been told to play that way, wait for the patient, move it. I had Sensation next to me, and they're all getting frustrated. And I said to him, just before we scored, this is okay. And then he's like, and then we got the other end and we score a goal because I could see what they were trying to do. And when it works, it's good. Andre is certainly the sort of player that can pick out and dissect the lines, which is why he's in the team. And he was magnificent. I thought Joe Gomez had a good game. Saw Lamina was quite an engine, So I saw lots of positives, a lot more positives in the performance yesterday. But we did, when it came to the crux of it, in the last 15, 20 minutes, we didn't seem to have the urgency. And I think that was, again, because of the substitutions. But I have to say, when we equalised against Liverpool, we'd hit them. I felt like it was a bit like the Joshua, who did he play? Dubois thing, that we caught them and we were just ready to go for them. The crowd were lifted. They were rocked, literally rocked. And then we do the worst thing possible. You're always most dangerous when you just scored a goal and they get a penalty and they get out of jail. Had that not happened, I thought the momentum at that point was just starting to shift back to us. And then, of course, they scored the penalty. It's a really soft penalty for me. I don't think Jota was getting anywhere near that ball. He felt the contact. He went down. I think if the ref doesn't give it, it doesn't get overturned by VAR, but equally, they're not going to overturn it. Sutty, let's hear your take.
Good evening, everyone. Yesterday, systems, David. This system we play, 4 at the back, is slow. It's pretty turgid. It's tippy-tappy. It doesn't get us very far. It concedes us 2.88 goals per game at the moment. We ain't never going to score 3 goals a game as long as we've got an hole in our backside. We've got a 6'4" centre forward, Dave. And
he's 1 inch taller than Haaland, actually, as well.
There you go. So, and he is feeding off scraps. The kid puts a shift in. I like Larson. He's a good player. He does all the dirty work. He never gives up on anything. He's made 2 Newcastle centre halves look like idiots at times. He never gave up on anything yesterday. He was the creator of our goal. And we don't feed him any crosses, Dave. Very few crosses. It is criminal, the amount of side-to-side passing that we do that just gets us into trouble. Now, I'm going to go back briefly 4 years, Dave, to one game in particular, because you'll all remember it. We played Leicester City on a 12 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday, and it finished 4-3. It was a hell of a game. They equalised 3-3 in about the 91st minute. And the goal that won the game was a typical Wolves goal. It had our identity of 5 at the back sprayed all over it. 3 passes, 1 from Cody to Neves. Neves dissects the Leicester back line. Jota gets on the end of it, squares it to Jimenez, bang, goal. Or the other way around. I think it was the other way around. 3 passes, fast, clinical, in the back of the net. This system, Dave, is absolutely awful. This system.
Sutty, can I ask you, do you not think we played some really good football at times yesterday? Against, I want to put this in context, right?
Is it
I've heard someone here who's put on that I'm paid by Fosun, which is really, really funny. I will have my say and have an opinion. So
can I have mine first, Dave? Can I finish having mine first?
Go on.
Look, is this fast-flowing football?
Hold on. Let me say we scored a goal within from the bottom of our thing within about 10 seconds, and we scored a goal. Let me just come back onto this. I will try and give balance, right? I'll get angry about things and frustrated. If I saw improvement yesterday in the way we played. I saw a team that are not giving up. I didn't see a team that have lost. That, Gary O'Meal can be criticised for substitutions, and I'm sure he can. We are not going to be changing from a back 4. That's been incredibly made clear by Matt Hobbs in that interview, and we're going to come on to that interview. But equally, we came out here, we lambasted the team last week for Villa, but this team put a shift in yesterday. They didn't fold. Liverpool are top of the table. They are
Yeah.
a Champions League team with full of confidence who are top of the table. And at times yesterday, we looked the better team. And there doesn't look, me, between Liverpool and Wolves, 20 places from yesterday. They got the breaks with the penalty. We got back into the game, and the frustrating thing for me, the same as I was frustrated last week, when Villa were down to 10 men for the last 4 minutes of the first half, there was instruction. It had to be from the bench that we just played for half time instead of going for the kill. We got the goal. The crowd is up. I don't see Molineux turning on the manager either. You know, I see people obviously on social media calling for it. I see people here. I have not heard one person turn against the manager at Molineux or at an away game. So he points what he said after the match yesterday. You know, the fans are sticking with it at the moment, and I think he deserves criticism. I think, you know, the board deserves criticism as well. But to come on here and say that I'm like paid by Fosun, it's like, yeah, I wish I was, because I'd be a billion. I'd have a lot of money. You know, I do this for to try and give everyone a say, and I will have my say as well. And I think that this team is close from the performance yesterday. I think we're close.
Close to what?
Winning. I think we're going to. I think.
Yeah, but close to what, Dave? What are we close to achieving? They're paid to win, Dave. They're paid to win. They're paid to go out and win games. What are we going to win?
We're going to win. Well, we're going to start by winning one game, Sutty.
Yeah, when?
Confidence needs to. Let me just come back. I'm going to come back onto you. Look, we're all fed up. You know, I'm fed up. We're all frustrated. We're all pointing fingers here, there, and everywhere. We have got to stay right now. The players, everyone needs the fans to stick behind the players, because the players are not giving up. I didn't see any of the players yesterday, with the exception of probably Wang, who was just missed a cellophane when he came on. You know, we've called out the faults, we've shouted out the things with the defence. We've all said it. We've said it for weeks about, like, why didn't they bring in another defender? And we're going to talk about the things that were said in that interview. You know, talking about you've got to prepare for injuries. Dawson picks up a bug. You know, Bastian, who's the young 18-year-old, which Chris rates really high, has got an injury. Totti Gomez has been used with a knock. Santiago Bueno's hardly had any game time. So we're down to the bare bones. And I've got to tell you, Santiago Bueno and Totti Gomez did a really good job yesterday defensively. I think Santiago Bueno's gone off with a gluten injury, so it's another one. But I don't know why I don't know why, if you've got a centre-back on the pitch, because there's a centre-back going off. I know he's Alfie Pond and he's a young lad. Why you then put Lamina into the centre-back and he just didn't bring on Alfie Pond, because he's actually a proper defender. So look, this is why I'm asking everyone today: is your glass half full or your glass half empty, or your team hope or your team despair? Because you've got to pick a side. Are you going to give up? Are we going to just say, like, okay, we're doomed? Or are we going to just, like, I'll start to have some belief? Because I think this team still believes that they can get results. And I think it's going to happen very, very soon. I think we're going to get a result next week against Brentford. And I think we're going to win that game. I really
Dave,
do.
I think this team doesn't believe in this system, Dave. I think they're at their wits' end with this system. That's why you're seeing players on their hands and knees for a minute at the end. Your captain, who's so dejected by it all. I watched him go over to the manager at a point in the game. Mate, he doesn't believe in this. And if your captain doesn't believe in it, how's he going to translate that to his team? They do not believe in this.
I don't believe that that's the reason why he was on his knees, because he's despairing with the manager and Gary O'Neill. Not for 1 minute. I believe that he was on his knees because he gave 150% for the team. He's the captain, and on his watch, we haven't won a game yet. That's why. And he was just down because he's just like, oh, we've lost again. I don't think it got anything to do with Gary O'Neill and not believing in the system. He's the captain. He will believe in the system. He will take onto the pitch the orders from the manager. Now, Gary O'Neill has definitely made mistakes with the substitutions, But we have played some good football against some top teams. The only game that we have really been out of sight on is Chelsea, when we basically fell apart. And, the second half against Villa was unacceptable. But I haven't seen the players. I don't see the players feel like Gary O'Neill's lost the dressing room. I can't see it. Not from the way they're playing.
Dave, I do want to mention Amina because I don't sit far away from you. And the second half yesterday, I was watching him quite intently for a while, mainly when he was brought into the back for some reason, which you've already mentioned. I don't think was the right thing to do. He was shaking his head a lot. His body language was very strange. I didn't think. I know he was upset with Wang because Wang didn't track back at one point, and he was shaking his head, but he kept shaking his head, and he was shaking his head all the time. He was waving his arms. I get they're frustrated, but your captain needs to be the man who stands there and says, "Come on, lads, drive people on." And for me, I don't think he was doing it yesterday, and so I was a little bit alarmed by that. I don't have any questions about the caliber and the abilities of the players. What I do have is questions about their tactical capabilities and knowledges, and some of the things that are going on. If it's the manager, then that brings into a different question. Why are we doing it? Why, when Terence Trent Alexander was booked after 2 minutes, did we fail to press down that wing at all and try and put him under pressure to make a booking? Why didn't we kick the ball long to our 6-foot centre half so he could flick it on to our left winger behind Trent's camp? Why did we not push them that way? Why were we playing the ball back between the two centre halves and Semedo and the keeper? And things like that, I don't understand. And I said to my lad yesterday, the manager has got to be telling them this, or they either can't see things like that and game and manage it, which worries me, or they're being told to do things a certain way and do it no other way. That's what worried me about yesterday.
Yeah, and I'm just going to come back to Paul Harris. He goes like, why Dave can't see every Wax fan that I speak to want gone? Because that's your circle of friends, Paul. That's the circle you live in, which is probably, you're all really down and negative. So you feed off each other and say the same things. And I see the same people in the chat every week saying the same things. It doesn't matter what we do. You're just so negative, some of you. You need to, and it isn't good. It isn't great at the moment. But it doesn't matter what happens on the pitch. You say the same things all the time. We're doomed. We're going down. That's got to feed into the players as well. You've got to have a little bit of belief. When we play some decent stuff, you've got to say we've played some decent stuff. Yeah, we've lost. We've lost to Arsenal, who are basically going for the title. We've lost to Liverpool. We lost to Arsenal 2-0, by the way, who were going for the title, who we should have. We were on top of for 20 minutes and didn't take our chances. We've lost to Liverpool yesterday, 2-1. We lost to Chelsea that have spent something like £1.5 billion, and we had a 15-minute Brighton thing. Okay, we got a point against Nottingham Forest, who are having a decent side. Who else have we played? Liverpool. Who else? Villa, who are also a Champions League team. And that was on the manager last week. I fully agree with it. We've played all of these teams, but with Newcastle, another team that's up towards the top of the table. It's like there needs to be some sort of reality check that's going on. There are issues without any shadow of a doubt. But what is the answer? You're going to sack Gary O'Neill, and then what? What, bring in Moyes?
Dave, I don't think anybody in the ground yesterday was calling for Gary O'Neill, booing, moaning, not getting behind the team at all. I don't think the fan base is there.
Well, according to Paul Harris, who's Mr. Know-all, who seems to know everything, he's like Mr. Oracle. everyone he speaks to wants to get rid of Gary O'Neill, which is not the fact. There was a poll just last week. 85% of I think on that poll were for keeping Gary O'Neill. So what is the answer? Going back to a back five, that ain't happening. It's clearly not happening because they've set the stall out to do. So what's the answer? Someone tell me.
Who set the stall out?
Gary O'Neill.
Who?
Matt Hobbs. Have set the stall out.
Matt Hobbs. Yes, I think Matt Hobbs has far more to say about this squad and its tactics, a bit like Mr. Sellers did, than most of us like to believe.
Jack, you've been very nodding along and been taking all of that. I've tried to put stuff out there to create some real debate on this, So you're the voice of reason. What's your take on it? What's the answer? What's the solution? From my point of view, and I want you to say, they're playing this formation. There are lots of positives to take out the way that we've played at points, and they've been practicing this formation. Do we just rip it up now? And now we're going to be hopefully playing a few teams that hopefully we can exploit, or do we go back to a back five when we've only got 3 fit defenders? Get rid of Gary O'Neill. The Sporting. What's the answer? What's your thoughts?
I've been thinking a lot about this today, and I said to the guys just before we came on, I actually came out the ground yesterday feeling, we did okay there, probably better than a lot of us expected. And then I listen and read what O'Neill says after the game, and if you're looking for positives about Wolves' performance, you have to listen to what the Liverpool manager said.
Slot. He was really positive about.
He was more positive about how we played than our own manager. I'm getting really quite annoyed at this rhetoric from O'Neill about how we can't compete and other teams have got more budget and they've got better players, and that's the reality of where we are as a club. This kind of this lack of belief is seeping through to the players. You saw in that last 10 minutes there, nobody on that pitch in a gold shirt thought we could get back into that game. Nobody. And you heard it in the crowd as well. No one was kind of stepping up and going, we can get someone out of this game. There seems to be a real culture now within the club, and it comes from the top, of just accepting this mediocrity, and Liverpool are better than us, so as long as we don't get battered, that's okay. I'm not having it. Liverpool weren't great yesterday. And we've beaten teams like that in the past. And there was at no point yesterday did we look like we had anything in us to go and win that game. And that's the real... It makes you feel quite sad, actually, that we're in this position where there's just no belief in... And I think it comes from the manager's kind of negativity and this lack of self-belief. And it's the way he seems to be belittling his own players sometimes and saying, this team are better than us, they're going to finish above us in the table. As a fan base, we're not daft. We know the teams that are better than us, and we know the teams that have got better players, and then we know the teams that have spent more money than us. Of course we do. We don't need our own manager to tell us that. What we need is him to put a bit of passion and a bit of hope into that fan base with what he says before and after a game. Now, I'll bet you any money you like, on Friday when he does his pre-match conference before Brentford, he'll spend half an hour talking about how good Brentford are at home and what a great job Thomas Frank has done and how well they'll do to replace Tony and all this kind of stuff. You need someone in that dressing room that is going to make those players feel 10 foot tall at the minute. Because what you were saying earlier, I completely take on board what you're saying. If we were sat halfway up the table now on 8 points and we'd have just lost 2-1 to Liverpool, what you say is absolutely fine. But we're bottom of the table on 1 point. Now, at some point, pats on the backs and we played well in patches isn't going to cut it anymore. And the manager's got to get those players up for that game. And I really, really question at the minute whether he's going to do that.
Jack,
that's my big concern at the minute.
Jack, I 100% agree with you with exactly what you said. And this is something that has wound me up a lot. And I've talked about it. It's like this small club mentality, the rhetoric that's come out. I mean, we're going to come on about with Jeff in the summer when he says if you want to support club, he's sort of like tried to placate that in his statement, which we're going to talk about in a bit in the week, about saying, yeah, we want to win cups and qualify for Europe. He's tried to sort of roll back on that statement. And I also agree with the excuses from Gary O'Neill about sort of getting his excuses in. Oh, we've got a virus running through the squad and stuff like that. Like this week, it's like, if we do lose, we've had a virus. So I 100% agree with you. I want to hear our manager talking like we're a big club that's can roll anyone over, that we're going to go and win. I don't want to hear defeatist talk. And you're right, it will filter through to the players. And last week against Villa, when we had them on the ropes and they were down to 10 men, and we just sat off and played like we did against when we played Blackburn to stay up that one game, and just passed it around when we could have gone for the jugular. And all of these points are exactly right. He seems to set the team up really well, and then it's the in-game stuff that seems to go away, and talking before and after the game. And the fans have been incredibly patient. When we're talking about Jeff and Matt talking about patient, the fans have been so patient. Patience is running out. And Jack, you hit the nail on the head, because that makes me angry as well. I don't want to hear excuses. I want to hear, like you said, installing some real belief into the players, and possibly he's doing that in behind closed doors and with the players in the dressing room, and we don't see. But the press conferences are so sort of toned down, and there's no emotion there. Is just like you say, talking about the job that Thomas Frank is doing. Probably will. Josh, your take on that?
I do think there is a presence. It's only unlocking the ground. You don't really hear about fans saying about Gary. You hear him about his decisions. Quite a bit at Villa Park last week. Heard it with the lot Arset with this week, and there is the main presence of him telling to be gone. He's social media at the moment, but give it a few more games. If the form doesn't pick up, the tide will turn. Because, like you said, the comments he's coming out with, I say that the fire on Twitter, the fire is definitely being fueled already. I've seen loads, absolutely loads. You just don't hear it in the ground. I think social media is a lot more powerful than people think.
Social media is really, really powerful, and Twitter is like the most toxic place that you can ever be. It's like we win a game, we're going to win the Champions League. We lose a game, and like it's the end of the world. It's so fickle, and a lot of these accounts that are probably faceless accounts and stuff like that. It's a horrible place. Can be Twitter, because people can say what they want. It's a different thing saying it in front of someone's face and stuff like that. But like the Molyneux was singing Gary O'Neill's name multiple times at the weekend. The players were clapped off the pitch. A lot of fans stayed and appreciated the effort that they were getting in. The away games haven't been any different. But like we are right in saying that there will come a point, and it'll come a point for all of us, that the excuses or the extenuating circumstances of injuries from last year, okay, will allow for that. You did a good job. You had a lot of credit in the bank because you came in with 3 days' notice, Mr. Gary O'Neill, and did an incredible job of getting that team pushing Europe before the injuries. So there's a lot of credit in the bank for that he did that. And then this year, we've had an awful start in terms of the teams that we've played. And other than the Chelsea game, really, we haven't been wiped away by anyone in the second half. So there has been, as much as it hurts, there has been a lot of positives. We've got some good players that I think can hurt teams, but there has been mistakes done in the recruitment, which I think we can all agree. Jack, I want to ask you before I go back on to Sutty, because I want Sutty to come back on all of this. Are you Gary O'Neill out? Because people seem to think you are.
I like the guy. I think, like you said last year, he did what we wanted him to do. He proved Lopetegui wrong when Lopetegui was saying the players weren't good enough, all that. But we need someone at the minute that's going to lift the club. If you go back to a few years ago when we were running through the Championship and we were qualifying for Europe, if Nuno had come out and said, Wolves are going to buy the moon, we'd have believed him. If Gary O'Neill came out tomorrow and said, we're going to sign a centre-half in January, I don't think many people would take him as gospel. And I just think we're at that point now where you just need someone who's just got a little bit more presence and a little bit more can drag those fans along. And I'm starting to think he might not be that person.
Are you
I
Gary
like him
O'Neill
personally.
Out? Are you Gary O'Neill out? Yes or no? Are you at that point yet?
I think I am, yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And that's Jack. And he's the voice of reason. Interesting. Really interesting. Mate, thank you for being so blunt about that one. Who would you bring in?
And that's the issue, isn't it?
Rob Edwards? You're going to place Gary O'Neill with Rob Edwards? Because it's probably what's going to happen. We're going to get Moyes, and then he's going to play.
We could sit here throwing names out all night.
Harry Potter,
Southgate, Graham Potter.
Potter will come nowhere near us. He will come nowhere near us. I'm sick of people keep mentioning his name. He won't come anywhere near us.
This is the issue, isn't it? And like I said last week, does getting rid of Gary O'Neill solve everything? Yeah. Does it solve everything? No. But I think I'm at the point now where I think a fresh voice and someone who's going to get the fans excited and believing in the club again is what we need more than anything. We shouldn't be frightened
of making a decision like that because we don't know who can come in.
Chris, this is Wolves. We slapped Mick McCarthy and spent about 3 months trying to find someone, ended up with Terry Connor.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be using the fact that, who's going to come and take over as a reason not to change a manager.
If they sack Gary O'Neill, I guarantee you they'll have someone lined up straight away because they can't afford to mess about. And, we heard Matt Hobbs in an interview not very long talking about succession planning with managers as well. So, there will be someone that they will.
We don't succession plan centre halves, isn't it?
Well, according to Matt Hobbs, they do, but we'll come on to that in a minute. Sooty, you chuckle, mate. We've had a good thing tonight. I wanted to be sort of like ultra positive tonight and all that because I want this debate. Sometimes I sit back, I let people talk and stuff like that. I want to try and create lots of debate about this because it is important to have all these views and stuff. And we can moan and groan about a lot of stuff, but you've also got to talk about some of the positive things that have happened in terms of, the effort of the players and the way they played. I don't see the players not giving in the effort, but Gary O'Neill can definitely be questioned without any shadow of a doubt because he does seem to lack a bit of this, as Jack says, this sort of personality. But everyone was having a loving with him like last year when after 6 games and we started to beat Man City and he was on Saturday Night Football and everyone was clamouring for him to be given a brand new contract, which they've done. They were all, he's the holy grail. He's going to be the next big thing. He's going to be the next manager. And now everyone's like, he's back to being the PE teacher again. Sooty, PE teacher or next England manager?
Dave, listen. This time last year, he had 4 days' notice. Well, in the pre-season. He'd never worked for a company like Fosun Group and a chairman like Jeff Shee. He's now had 1 year under him. He's starting to see the reality of what it takes to work under this regime. Because let's be honest, they tell you one thing and give you another, Dave. They are full of lies, deceit, and basically they cheat all of us, Dave. This is the reason. Now, if you put me on the spot now and say, do you want Gary O'Neill out? I actually sympathise with him a little bit, Dave, because he doesn't have a lot of say in who comes in here. Mr. Hobbs has told us this week in a national newspaper that this is what we're going to play. This is rigid. And we've got players to play this system. Well, Mr. Hobbs, you're another dickhead because you don't know what you're doing if you're claiming that, I'm afraid. Who's going to come in, Dave? Let me finish. Who's going to come in with these owners that run a football club like they run it?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm going to come back on that point because Matt Hobbs actually didn't say that we're going to play a back four, but reading between the lines is kind of what he was insinuating to, because when he said about, well, we've got 4 senior defenders.
He said in the press that if we decide another centre half,
Santiago Bueno would go out on loan.
Santi Bueno would go out on loan. How do you think Santi Bueno feels? You're having a go at Gary O'Neill for being negative, and then Matt Hobbs goes public in a national newspaper and says, the kid we're playing yesterday against one of the best teams in Europe, we've now got to get him to step up and feel great about himself. He's just been told he was going to get shipped out. So Matt Hobbs is a dickhead.
Well, okay, that's one opinion. But as I say, we're all going to talk a lot about this in a second. But like he didn't say we were just going to play a back four, but been reading between the lines because he said we're only going to have 4 senior defenders means that you know they're obviously going to be sticking with the back four. And I was really surprised to hear what you said, that had we have brought in another defender, which we all said we need, then it would have just shipped out Santiago Bueno, who, by the way, Sutty, you praised a lot last year and said he's going to be one of our main centre-backs. So, look, yeah, let's just let's close off on the I think this is a nice time to close off on the game from the weekend and then talk about the wider issues with the interview with Jeff Shee and Matt Hobbs. But before we do that, let's Sutty, give us your man of the match and performance rating in the moment of the day for you.
Well, I'll give Andre man of the match. He's an outstanding player, but a player we didn't need, Dave, because I think he's actually probably caused more problems for us trying to horseshoe him in, shoehorn him in, into a system that is all over the place now. Somebody has got to go out of that pack of 3 players. And it could well be your captain if you're not careful, because you cannot drop Andre now. He's that good. So I'm going to give him man of the match. I can't give any more than a 6 because we've lost. And away from football, meeting Manny before and giving him a couple of quid in his donations bucket, meeting lovely people outside the Billy Wright Stadium before the game, having a chat. And I suppose, really, there are more important things than football. And on 63 minutes, we paid homage to one of our own, the great Steve Plant, and may he rest in peace, and we never forget him.
Well, absolutely well said. And I thought the minute's applause was immaculately respected by everyone in the ground as well. Actually, which was really nice. Cheerful, your thoughts?
Well, gone out or gone in, because I didn't give you what I think. I haven't been not cheerful about Gary O'Neill. I've been quite keen for him to succeed, but he is making too many mistakes week on week for me now. He needs to move away from whatever this tactic or way of playing that he's drafted up and start going back to basics and try and start winning points. And the woe is me thing in the press conference, the only bright thing coming out of Gary O'Neill in our press conference is when he opens his mouth and his teeth show. he's just dour and dire, and everything is a reason why we're not going to win the game. That's right, and we've got to get out of that mentality, because that will just seep into the team and we won't win anything. So I'm not going to say it's gone out at the moment, because I'm hopeful that he can change things. He obviously got a tune out of the players last year when he was thrown in at the deep end, and maybe some of this is down to the players, and maybe they need to be spurred on, and he's not the right person, but the new face did last year, and maybe that wore off, and that's what some of the games last year at the end. I know we had this weakened squad, Maybe that's what was starting to happen. I don't know. Maybe they're not listening to him as much anymore. I don't know. But he needs to address it, because if he doesn't, it's not going to be long before there are 29,000 Jacks in the stadium, and we're all going to be saying something's got to be done. If we don't, we're going to be watching Championship football next year.
Well, absolutely. As like I said, you know, time will tick. Time will, you know, we start losing to these games that was supposedly start to be the winning when the easier fixtures. That's when it'll start to turn.
Yeah.
Josh.
Match rating 5. Man of the match, Andre. Moment of the day. Was seeing a video of me crawling in it back at 12 o'clock in the morning after my 30th birthday party on my hands and knees, and it was absolutely hilarious. And to be fair, going to see my mates afterwards and showing them all the video, and having
that's good.
Living daylights ripped out of me for it.
Man of the match,
Andre.
Okay, and your performance rating?
5.
A 5?
Yeah.
Why a 5?
Didn't win.
Just because we didn't win, so we can play well, and we can play decent football, and that doesn't count for anything. We don't win a game, and we played brilliantly.
We had some positives, but I can't give any more than a 5 for that, to be fair, in all honesty.
Fair play, Josh. Fair play. Jack.
I was going to say exactly the same as Sutty. Andre, man of the match, 6 out of 10. And Steve's tribute on the 63rd minute. You know, you look at Steve Plant, you look at Manny, you look at Jason Guy. This is a special, special football club. And if Mr. Shear, Mr. Hobbs and Mr. O'Neill need to know how special this football club really is, have a look at the tributes to Steve Plant in the last week, and you'll see what a special football club this is. You really, really will.
Well said. Some great points there. Right, we're going to talk. We're going
to
move
on.
Dave,
I never gave my score, Dave.
Oh, go on then, mate.
So I agree with Josh. I give it a 5. The reason it's a 5 is we didn't really create any clear-cut chances. Yes, we scored a goal, but we didn't really, push where we should have done. I think we made tactical errors in our approach to the game when Trent Alexander got booked. We didn't maximise or try and benefit from that. Yes, I thought we did well defensively, but we didn't win and didn't really look like winning. Better performance than we've had done, but I can't give it more than a 5. And that man of the match, I think I'd give it to Andre.
Love it, mate. Right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Some details about a brilliant offer that we've got for you with NordVPN, and it is an absolute cracker. When it loads up. In a second. Any second there.
Looks as it's about as quick as Gary at making subs.
I don't know whether it's my internet, mate. To be honest. My device is having trouble sharing. Try again. Okay, I'll try again. Sorry about this. We will get there in a second.
This is how long it took me to call in the house on Saturday morning.
Let's try again. Hopefully it'll work this time. I'm really excited to bring you an amazing exclusive offer to Always Wolves subscribers with NordVPN, a product that I use myself as well. I'm going to tell you why I love it and why I think it'll be great for you. It's going to be less than a standard adult match ticket at Molineux. Like a lot of us, I do like to go abroad to get a little bit of sunshine and winter sun. And when you're abroad, you want to be able to watch, in those down moments, some of your favourite shows, listen to your favourite podcasts. And literally at the click of a button on your phone, your app or your computer, you literally click that, and within seconds it goes green. It's so fast and so secure to connect. So if you like watching your Netflix or your Now TV and your football, click that and you can watch it wherever you are in the world. And I use it a lot when I'm out and about and having to connect to public Wi-Fi. Obviously public Wi-Fi is not that secure, so by connecting to NordVPN, it keeps your data and your privacy absolutely safe. a lot of people might think, okay, yeah, it's X amount, you get one device. It doesn't just cover one device. It doesn't cover 2. It doesn't cover 5. It doesn't cover 7. It covers 10 devices in your household. So that's your tablet, your phones, and there's an app that you can download to your TV as well. So multiple devices for multiple people is covered under this one plan. Up to 10 devices, insane. And with NordVPN, you get 24-hour support as well. So what is the offer? So the offer is 24 months at 74% off, pretty much less than a match ticket for one game at Molineux. We're throwing in an extra 4 months free, and you've got a 30-day money-back guarantee as well if you don't like it. The link is in the description below for you to click, or if you're listening to this and you just want to log on, just go on to nordvpn.com/alwayswolves, or go on to the alwayswolves.co.uk website and you'll be able to get the link from there as well. As I say, it's something I use a lot all the time myself, so hopefully you guys will find it really useful and you don't mind me telling you about it. And it helps out the channel as well. Always Wolves. Fantastic. Hope you don't mind that. As I say, it is a really good offer. I think instead of something like £274 for 2 years, it's like 63 quid for 28 months and a 30-day money-back guarantee. And I say it's on 10 devices, so it's a cracking deal if you're looking for a VPN. Right then, change of tack now, guys. We're going to talk about the interview with Jeff and Matt Hobbs. Now, first of all, you know, I always think it's positive that you get your chairman and your sporting director that will come out and talk. There are lots of clubs you don't hear from them at all. But obviously, when they do come out and talk, it's going to leave them opportunities and leave people that are going to leave themselves open for criticism, positive and negative. So, Josh, do you want to kick us off with this one? Your thoughts on that?
What was that again, Dave? Sorry, I was having people coming in and out, so I was muted. Sorry.
Right. So we're on about the now about the interview with Hobbs and She. Yep. I just wanted to see what your take out of that interview, what you took out of it, what you were thinking about of it.
So I said it to the lads before before we come on. Like, it just screams what happened with Lopetegui all over again, where comments were made before and then goalposts have been changed. It just screams that all over again, where we've now been told one thing. Last summer, in forums, in committee meetings with the club, from myself on here, where it was saying PSR and financial fair play was a concern. We need to stick to it. We can't be shown of having breaches. And then they've come out now and said we aren't in trouble with PSR or financial fair play, so we don't have to watch it. That could be read two ways. It could be read two ways in the fact of that we are now not close and we're fine because of what we've done. Or it can be read like a lot of people have said, and we were saying earlier, it could be read on the basis that we weren't ever in trouble of PSR and financial fair play, and it isn't a good look on Jeff and now Matt. And now Matt's getting involved. It doesn't, with him coming out saying the same thing as Jeff, that doesn't bode well after the good work he looks like he's done already.
Good points. Jack, you were on the fans advisory board, so you were actually told, and I think it's public knowledge as well, really, that we were actually the year that we got out of financial fair play trouble or PSR, we were very, very close to the line.
Yeah. I mean, if I don't want to misquote anyone, obviously, but I think one of the lines was we were sort of within 2.5 million of the line. And so last January, the choice was, do we pay up Johnny Otto's contract or do we bring a centre forward in on loan? And they decided to release Johnny Otto's contract because he'd obviously had issues with discipline in the training ground, hadn't he? So it's like Josh says, it's very, very again, that word, it's sad that we get told one thing one year and then it changes, and then Jeff will probably come out and say, I was misquoted and it's been misinterpreted and that kind of thing. And I think Sutty said just before we came on earlier, if you don't know what to believe, you don't believe anything. And so I think that's kind of probably where we are now with stuff like this that comes out. And you're right in that it's great that the owners want to communicate with the fan base, but sometimes, and again, timing is really important. And when you're bottom of the table with 1 point from 5 games as it was then, now 6 games, sometimes it's better off saying nothing and waiting for things to be a little bit more calm and a little bit more positive on the pitch. And then those messages might just be able to be seen a little bit better. But as it is now, I think, like we just said, you're just leaving yourself open to be sort of ripped apart.
Well, Jeff C quoted, PSR is something that we've always kept an eye on. We've never been close to the line. We've never been panicking enough to do something to avoid breaking the rules. We've never had a situation where we've had 1 month to 3 weeks to agree a deal. Never. Matt Hobbs says, if PSR is an issue for a football club, it shows you've got your planning wrong. We're disappointed in ourselves if PSR was ever an issue. It's a rule you have to stick with. We run a statute to make sure we get never anywhere near to crossing the line. And of course, the Fans Advisory Board were told completely the opposite to that. So it does bear the question, is like, well, you're saying one thing a year and 18 months ago that we've got to sell all these players to stay within 2 million of the thing, but no, we've never been close to crossing the line. Well, that sounds like bad planning to me. Sooty, your take?
Dave, can you just give me 2 or 3 minutes? Because last week I started writing a few things up, and I'm glad I didn't come on till this week because that interview was.
Have you got your list and your notes? Oh, okay. This is going to be good.
So I'm going to give you a quick.
Get your popcorn, everyone.
I'm going to give you a quick rundown since 2016, and it will be quick, right? And these are in my words, okay? So 2016. Fosun purchased Wolves for £30 million, and it formed part of what Fosun described as their Fosun's happy sector. They arrived on the crest of a wave.
Is it like the wellness thing?
Yeah, they arrived on the crest of a wave, duly sacking Kenny Jackett and appointing Walter Zenga. He was dismissed after 14 games, only winning 4. October, Rob Edwards was appointed interim head coach, and in November 2016, Paul Lambert is unveiled as our new head coach. Not setting the world alight until we went to Anfield in the FA Cup. 9,600 Wolves supporters packed the away end, and a famous 2-1 win at Anfield was handed to us, Stearman and Wyman scoring the goals. We lose to Chelsea at home 2-0 in the later round of the competition. We finished 15th in the Championship. 2 weeks later, Wolves and Lambert part ways due to the former wanting to have the final say on incoming transfers. A myriad of foreign players were signed, far too many to mention, but the likes of Alda Costa, Cavallero, Sace, to name a few. Good signings. 31st of May 2017, we find out about our new appointed head coach, Nuno Espirito Santo. Another Zenga, we all think. Let's be honest, none of us had ever heard of him. Little do any of us know, but he would go on to attain godlike status. Neves, Bolly, Jota were all added, to name a few. We romped the Championship. The blueprint has been created. Remember that. We are promised a 50,000-seater stadium. New Molineux. Use a new Molineux. We use Gestafi agency Mendes. The partnership is formed in concrete. 2018-2019. The Premier League awaits. We're all excited. Pundits are saying Wolves have a ready-made Premier League squad and will stay up with ease. We had Raul Jimenez, Matinho, Adama, Patricio, to name a few. We start tentatively, then pick up a few points up before hitting a bad patch, taking 1 point from a possible 15. Murmurings of he's out of his depth. We finished 7th that season. FA Cup semi-finalist. Still haunts me to this day, and I've still not watched it back.
Did you say one point from the first 15?
No, from a 15. We had a bad patch over a couple of months in October and November.
Yeah, I remember
Unbelievable nights at Molineux. The noise of those nights still ring in my ears. We've made the big time. 2019, 2020, European nights and trips away. Northern Ireland, Italy, Armenia, Portugal, Turkey, Slovakia, Spain and Greece. Players bought in, to name a few: Catroni, Neto, Dendoncker, Jourdain, another 7th place finish last day to the Europa League. We're riding on the crest of the wave. The chairman had gone on record the previous year to state Wolves will be challenging regularly for Europe, the Premier League, and no transfer is out of our remit if it is right for the club. We're in dreamland. Last day of the Europa League, beat all the big guns and widely considered to be the club that breaks the top 6 monopoly. COVID pandemic comes and reality kicks in. No Europe. Players bought in. Wait for it. Silva, Semedo, Hoover, to name a few. Early season, decent form, saw Wolves in the top 6 up until November. Cruelly thwarted by a tragic accident with a clash of heads between David Luiz and RJ9. Our season peters out, with our main concern being that our world-class talisman striker, would he ever play again? Or for that matter, will he be okay? We had an 18-year-old kid in our squad who was clearly not the wonder kid we had all been led to believe. £36 million we paid for him, and £80,000 per week wages. £54 million in total over 4 years. Was nowhere near good enough, and still isn't to this day. We then go and pay £3 million loan fee for William Jose. It's now common knowledge that Jeff Shee was the major voice in that transfer of young Silva. Little do we know at the time, but the total waste of money spent on this one singular transfer by our chairman would have ramifications in allowing us to trade within the rules of FFP and PSR in later years. We finished the COVID season 13th. We're getting progressively worse. It was widely reported that Nuno would be heavily backed in the close season. She backtracked, according to the press. Our saviour was basically given no choice. It was announced his final game would be at Molineux, with only a few thousand supporters attending due to COVID restrictions. A game we lost 1-0 to United. After the game, he approaches a very upset and tearful South Bank, the heartbeat of Molineux. With tears in his eyes, he turns and walks away for the final time. A crack has appeared in what I was led to believe was a bond made in heaven, the Molineux faithful and Fosun. It was at this point, filled with anger, I thought, you want to have made sure you make the right decision here, She. I'd always referred to him as Jeff because, like Nuno, I'd given him almost godlike status. We had an identity under Nuno that was feared by every side in the league. He was the boss. No one would go against any instruction he gave. We had lost such a vital cog. A clash over promises not delivered, unfortunately, only ever going to be won by one person. 2021-22, Bruno Lage is appointed. Transfers: Aït-Nouri, Jose Sarr, Trincao on loan, Mosquera, approximately 30 million. It's getting less all the time. After the tricky few opening games, we steadied down the beginning of January 22. Lie 5th position, 2 points off 4th. Lage goes public with a press conference and says he needs players, most notably centre forwards, but is forced to backtrack on his requests. Obviously, she has had a word. Squad depth is really poor. Common. And we end up finishing 10th. We've gone back up a little bit, when just the smallest investment would have given us the chance of Europe again. Still no ground improvement, which we were promised. 22-23, Bruno Lage still in charge. Players in: Collins, Guedes, Nunes. Spent big. Another terrible window, though. And the voice of our captain is shipped out on loan. Nuno's wingman forced out. Yet again, another abysmal decision. We try a back four, but it doesn't work out. It's a shambles. We're on 10 points from 13 games. Lage gets sacked. The Qatar World Cup is midwinter, so it gives us time to appoint a new head coach. Lopetegui comes in on the crest of a wave. He's marched around the pitch. We all stand. We think he's our saviour. And he was. He saved us. They backed him in the January. Quite clearly said other things, that they might well back him in the summer, which they didn't. He leaves 4 days before. Gary O'Neill comes in. that year we finished 13th after being bottom at Christmas. Gary O'Neill comes in 4 days. He's not backed. He's told we're going to sell everyone. We're in trouble with profit and sustainability rules and FFP. We need to raise a lot of money. We sell everyone. We're given no hope. Gary O'Neill does an outstanding job. We finished 14th. Sorry. He then goes on a 10-game winless run at the end of that season, the last season, due to lack of squad depth. And that's carried on into this season. Now we've got an absolutely unbelievable, horrendous start to a season with fixtures, and we've had a summer transfer window that they brought people in, but not the right people. Fast forward to this week, we have a newspaper report stating that FFP, PSR has never been in question. Who do we believe, Dave? I've been harping on about this for 3 years. 3 years. The crack started with Nuno, and it's gradually getting worse year on year. Sooner or later, with all the positivity that we all try and claim, and I wasn't booing yesterday, I'll never boo anybody in that ground. I'll never boo a manager, and I'll never boo anybody who wears old gold. Never. Not once have I ever done that. But who is the problem? And the problem lies above your head coach. Your head coach is now shell-shocked. He's had a tough start. He hasn't got the players he wanted, and he's got a recruitment manager in Mr. Hobbs, who, let's be honest, he has done some good things, but with this interview this week, he has caused so many problems for his own self by contradicting things. It almost looks as well, Dave, that he has a major say in the system that this football team plays, and that cannot be right, because that undermines a manager, and we all wonder why the manager is down all the time. And I've got a funny feeling that the people above him are getting a little bit too involved with his day-to-day business.
Okay, on that, I think you make some excellent points, but Gary O'Neill wanted to play a back four last year. He came in wanting to play a back four. That's always been Gary O'Neill's preferred thing. I think that he reverted to a back five last year by accident.
Yeah.
That was an accident that happened at Luton. He got into the system, he stuck with it. But I think all along he's wanted to play a back four. And he's come out and said that him and Matt Hobbs were all on the same page, that with what they were going to be bringing in the summer. And this is 2 or 3 weeks at the end of the summer window. He said the summer window didn't go how we were promised or expected, i.e., bringing in probably what they needed to play this back four. I don't think Matt Hobbs is instrumental in telling him he's going to play a back four. I think that's Gary O'Neill, but Matt Hobbs probably, and maybe Jeff haven't given him the tools fully. And I think this is where the tension's been. But you do make some good points, because I think Matt Hobbs generally came in after Scott Sellers when he was hounded out to Molineux, and he's had to do a really difficult job under difficult circumstances to get us under the line in PSR, which is why I'm surprised they're saying it was never an issue, because it clearly is. Maybe they're saying it's not an issue now, which it probably isn't, because I think Chris has referred to next summer, there's another 60 million to drop off on year 3. So we're going to be well clear of it next year. But I do think that he's dropped the ball on the defence. And I do think the Andre thing is a brilliant player, but I think that's an opportunistic signing, and a signing that probably, is great, and he's going to be worth triple that, quadruple that in a couple of years' time. But, we needed to bring in and buy another central defender. I think you make some brilliant points there, because he talks about Kilman. They talk about, are the owners still committed? This is a quote, and then I'm going to come to you. I think, is it Jack or is it Chris you next to talk? I think so. Are the owners still committed? Jeff Shee, Foden has never been an owner to spend for fun. Fabio Silva. It's not in their nature or character. They'll always try to invest where necessary to give the club a leadership team and a foundation, but also empower the team. Here, the plan is to combine intelligence and teamwork together with a cash injection to build something long-term. That's always the way for the chairman, the owner, and the group. We've been speaking with groups and minority investment, and there's plenty of interest. We have to find the right people aligned with us. Their valuation terms and how we work together for Wolves' long-term future is important. We're very active in this process to have more investors join us. Chris, your take on that?
Dave, this whole article, there's two now because they've done one with the Daily Mail, so it smacks of them wanting to put a message out there. I actually find the whole thing pretty insulting, really. Insulting our intelligence. This is this isn't the 70s where stuff you read in the paper, and if you don't see it, it's all forgotten because it's been used in chip shops the next day. It's all on the internet. You can see it, you can read it. There's no escaping it. He's just given rafts of conflicting messages, statements from the owners, Jeff Shee, Matt Hobbs. Matt Hobbs sits there and says that if you don't plan properly, PSL is a problem, or whatever the quote was. What was it? Something.
Yeah, pretty much. We're not doing our job right, basically.
Yeah, if PSL is not doing your job right, if you've got Alfie Pond on the bench, mate, you're not doing your job right. It's rubbish, And I'm this is the thing that gets me upset about Wolves. It's not the team, it's not the manager. It's all this hogwash that's going on in the background. And it's disingenuous to fans to keep going on and feeding us this diatribe of bollocks, because that's what it is. It's a mixed message. They seem to give a message every time. They're saying Fosun want to build something. What are they building exactly? Because they're not building anything in the stadium. They're not building a squad or a team, because they rape and pillage it as soon as anything shows it could be sold for a profit. So I don't understand what we're building here. Sandcastles comes to mind.
I think that's really interesting. I think this is the issue. Sutty, you summed it up with your art. What your art, you should send that across. We put it up as an article on the Always Wolves website because it was really well written and well thought out. Look, up until COVID, everything was hunky dory in the garden. Whether COVID had an effect, whether like what you say, Jeff Shee going out and being hoodwinked into buying Wonder Kids and spending, and they've cut that bit of the combination because they've got stung. I don't know. We have gone backwards. The thing is, if you don't move forwards in this Premier League, you've got to move forwards just to stand still. You've always got to be moving forwards. And if you don't invest or do the right sort of trading, you will go backwards. And you will get caught eventually. You've seen so many teams in the past. Southampton have won, Coventry before them. There's lots of teams that have sort of but eventually you get caught. And Wolves I feel like we've got like a bullet in a gun with one bullet, and they're spinning it and they're firing that bullet every year at the moment, just going we've got a 1 in whatever chance. But eventually that bullet's going to go and you're going to get caught. And when you gamble, if you learned nothing from last year with the striker situation and having the squad depth, and we've all talked and praised that we have got a bigger squad depth, maybe not the quality, because losing someone like Neto, you could see he's missing when he's fit. Kilman, not so much, I don't think, especially if we're playing a back four and a back five, he was pretty solid. But the depth is there, but the depth isn't there in the defensive areas. So this is why you need an extra player, a contingency, because you can pick up 1 or 2 injuries in a game quite easily. So if you've got 5, you've still got 3, rather than, we can only put these. All we've got is Totti Gomez and Santiago Bueno, who haven't played a lot of football. We've got to put them in, and we've got to have Alfie Pond on the bench from the academy. If we'd have had an extra defender, you'd have had a bit more depth. So, yeah, I will give Matt Hobbs a lot of praise for what you've done, and I've said that. But like with all of us, the defensive thing, and also then you talk about the Hugo Bueno going out on loan, which is for me a surprise as well. Jack, look, I'm gonna like you sit on the Vans advisory board. Have they talked about looking for investors on that board? I don't expect you to say who, what, and why have you, but has that come up?
Only at the level that's been mentioned in that article, that they're actively looking for people that can help, is the phrase that they use, to help. So my concern on that front would be, you're not going to get anyone that's going to put a lot of money into a football club and have no say in it, which is what a minority owner would be. You know, you're not going to get someone that's going to say, I'll tell you what, I'll give you £200 million for 30% of the club. You carry on running it how you want. Here's 200 million. If you're going to get people to come in, they're going to have to buy a controlling stake, aren't they? And if you look at the Premier League at the minute, you know, you look at how difficult the sale of Everton's been. You know, how many people tried to buy that, couldn't buy that, tried to buy it, then were told that they weren't fit and proper, or whatever the phrase is, and then other teams have kind of been bought, and it's been mixed bag, hasn't it? Some teams have sort of kicked on, some teams have stagnated, and so it's one of those, isn't it? I think it sounds great, investors coming in, it sounds great, and it's one of those things, like we said earlier, that positivity. Oh, brilliant! People are trying to buy, but it might not be as great as we all think, and you've just got to kind of see how it plays out, really.
Interesting, because like I was at the George Ellakobi thing on Friday night, which, by the way, Chris was there, mate. How good was that night? It was absolutely brilliant. George Ellakobi's inspirational.
Yeah, you know, everything that we've talked about, the manager of this team currently, being able to change and drive a team, and then you sit and listen to that bloke who, I know he's managing Maidstone, but crikey, if he'd have got into these players the way he was talking that evening, they'd have been compelled to deliver for him. You can see he is a man motivator. He's just fantastic. A humble guy who so driven. His story about growing up, the adversity of his life. I think in 1 year, it was 1996, wasn't it, Dave? He lost his grandfather, his father, and his uncle. They lived in
the space of 6 months.
In the space of 6 months,
having to forage just food in Cameroon. But he always said he was going to make something of himself. He came into. He talked about like coming to the UK with his mom. And his mom said, do you want some trainers or a pair of football boots? And he says, I'll have a pair of football boots and wear them to go to school. And he turned up at this place near him where the kids were playing College Hamlet, where they were playing football, and they kept telling him to go away because, you know, go off. 3 months. For 3 months he turned up every day, and then one day there was a player short, and they said, do you want to come in and make the numbers up? And he ended up being captain because he kept his belief every day.
Fantastic.
It was absolutely brilliant. But it was a really good evening, and that's the sort of thing that you want to see, that belief to win, that will to succeed eventually. But someone from spoke to me and said, Dave, I'm going to tell you this. I don't know how true it is. I work at Wolves. He works in a department at Wolves. He said someone had sent him something about this investment, who said Wolves are in the process of selling 45% to an investor. And he said, look, I don't know how true it is or what have you. I work at the club, and this is something that's going around. So I don't know about that. So like, then this article comes out this week talking about investors. I don't know whether it's setting us up, preparing for a big investor coming in. Emma, the producer, seems certain that we're secretly going to up for sale, even though they keep saying that we're not. she's sure that they're up for sale because the way that they're doing the books and making the books look pretty at the moment is exactly what Jez Moxie was doing back in the day before they sold to Fosun, making it look really attractive to a buyer. So there might be behind the scenes things happening in terms of that investment a lot closer than we think. But although they're sort of saying that they have got this long-term investment, and probably they have, if someone comes in with a big percentage like 30%, 40%, that's a precursor to eventually taking over the club, surely, because that's what happens, isn't it? It's the same at United. Who was it, Ratcliffe, that's invested into them? But like what Jack says, they're going to want to say. You're not going to have someone that's just going to go, yeah, I'm going to give you 200 million for 30%, but I'm not going to have any say in what happens. I think they want the money to do the stadium. That's what I'm thinking is where they want the investment to actually do the stadium.
The only thing that worries me about that, Dave, is to enter into a partnership financially at that level that we're talking about in our club, you'd have to have some real honest faith and open transparency in your partner. And I don't think you could put any of those words with Mr. Shee. So I don't know why. I just don't know why you would do it. I really can't see how you would spend so much money and entrust another party to if it's a facilities type company, investment company that want to come in and build a brand new Molineux by the M54 that means we can move and got cinemas and God knows what, all that stuff that we talked about, that would be a good idea. Would you really want to entrust the football inside of that to the current owner who's making such a hassle of it, thinking that your revenue is going to dive bomb the minute we head into the championship? I just don't see how that will work. But maybe it will.
Well, indeed, maybe it will. So I mean, these at the moment we don't really know. I mean, the one thing that we do know is that there's a lot of uncertainty. There's different things coming out from different things. I mean, Jeff did come out in the statement, which when he was talking about the long-term plan, he wants to make the club more influential and bigger, larger fan base around the world. To reach that, we've got to remain competitive in the Premier League and try and win something. Being competitive on the pitch is not enough. You have to try something else. We're working within the city. He talked about China. After reaching the last eight of the FA Cup in the semi-finals under Nuno Espirito Santo, he says there is an ultimate goal. We all want to win something. Winning the league will require a lot of luck, but winning trophies or getting into Europe is imaginable. This is obviously great to hear. Good words. The sort of words we didn't want to hear back in the summer when it was like, if you want to follow Wolves and win something.
Completely contradicts what he said 6 weeks ago.
Well, I think
again,
I think the pennies dropped. That he peed off a lot of fans by saying that. These are good words. It's good that you hear our chairman say these things, but it's not. It's words, and it's all about. It's all about actions. Sooty, I'm just going to give you the last word on this list. This bit, obviously, I've said before, and I know, and I've heard from the media teams and stuff like that, when they come out and talk, it's they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. If they don't say anything or they don't say anything, you just hear the fan base screaming, we don't hear anything from the chairman, we don't hear anything from the sporting director, we don't hear this, why aren't they communicating? And then when they do, they get picked apart. So they kind of are damned if they do and damned if they don't. I'd rather hear from them than not hear from them at all. But I also would rather hear from them and see that their words are backed up by actions. And I think that's exactly where you've been. Like, you want to win something. You want to see ambition. We all do. So it's good to hear the words, but it needs backing up. Is that basically your view?
It is, Dave. If they say you're going to do something, do it. If I've been reading in here, excuse me, the comment saying we can't fill the ground we've got. Well, the reason we can't fill the ground we've got at the moment is because the bloody idiot put the season ticket prices up that much. That's the reality of it. I mean, when you're talking some tickets are costing 225 quid to watch Wolves, I mean, come on. But let's be realistic here. They said they were going to do a new stadium. You will fill a new stadium, Dave, if you've got the right product playing football on the pitch. Everybody will want to go. They'll come from all over. We know there's London Wolves, there's Wales Wolves, there's blooming Scottish Wolves. So to say it's just a Wolverhampton-based club is absolute rubbish. I know lads that come up to every single game from South Wales on the train.
What about talk about Bride? He comes up from Southampton.
There you go. There are thousands of people. It's not all Wolverhampton, this.
Yep.
It's everywhere. So that's utter rubbish when people say, oh, we can't fill it because there's only people from Wolves support Wolves.
There's one guy, I think he flies in from a...
Yeah, he does. Isle of Man.
Oh, yeah.
You've got the lads in Dublin. You've got the lads from Dublin as well. They fly home and away. They're there every week.
If the product on the pitch is good, that stadium and this club will have a waiting list of 10,000 again. That is fact. But who is going to join a waiting list to become a season ticket holder at this football club when the goalposts are constantly moved, your greatest assets are constantly sold, and the product on the pitch, well, I won't say poor at best because that's a little bit too low, but let's say it's bang average at best, because we ain't winning nothing with this mindset. There's nothing I would love more, Dave, than for you to go to an FA Cup final with your dad and me to go with my son and watch an FA Cup final and watch Wolverhampton Wanderers lift the cup. But Dave, if you don't put round pegs in round holes and buy the correct players, and I'll go back again, Andre is the best player we've got at the moment.
Yeah.
But he's not the player we needed. He could well be causing more problems to us than what we gain from him. We could go down. That is a reality.
At the moment, we're bottom of the table.
Yeah, we could go down. Now, if they've spent £21 million on Andre and we get relegated, they'll sell him for 50, 60 million quid because he'll be our best player, I've no doubt, all season. But is that worth a place in the Premier League? For me personally, it's an absolute resounding no. And you've got to buy the correct players for the system you want to play. And if you don't, well, you get what you deserve. And the people that will get what they deserve is not us. It's not Gary O'Neill, because he's got to play players out of position. They're not the players he wanted. He's gone on record and said he wanted different players. It's Mr. Hobbs and Mr. Shee. One signing the players and one signing the check for the players. So they're the people that you've got to blame for all this mess at the moment.
Fantastic. Right, we're going to have one. We're going to move on and look forward and then get your questions to finish off the show. But I do have one more international fan to play, and that's New York Wolves. Talking about international fans, here's Dave.
Hey Dave, David New York Wolves here, coming to you from Chicago. And for any fans of the Blues Brothers, yes, that is the Honourable Richard J. Daley Centre, and yes, that is where they keep the Picasa. Just a little cultural reference there. But anyway, we just lost to Liverpool 2-1 at home. Not the most embarrassing result in the world, but we are bottom of the table with 1 point and a very negative goal difference. So we need to start turning things around really quickly, because we're in a pickle and we need to start getting some points on the board. But what I wanted to see today was more of a full 90-minute performance. A lot of games this season we played really well for portions of the game, scored a goal, gone ahead, and then gone to absolute pieces and just let in stupid goals. We didn't do that today. Arguably the first one, maybe we could have defended it better. Maybe Santi could have jumped a little higher, maybe Totti could have challenged a little harder, maybe Johnson could have got a better hand on it, but it was also a pretty damn good cross if you look at it. And then the second one, the penalty, okay, we probably can't complain about it. But was that given? Would that be given at the other end? I'm not so sure. But, we got back into the game. We kept attacking. We had some good touches. And there's stuff to build on there. So I think, generally positive performance, disappointed in the result. And we need to transition into a mode of, it's not really performances we need, it's points. Brentford next. I don't want to call that a must-win, but it would be a really, really helpful to win. Then Man City and Brighton, and then we get into a couple of definitely winnable home games in November. So I think let's not panic too much. Yes, we're in a really bad position, but it's only a few games into the season, and I think if we keep up this level of performance, plug some of the gaps, and get a couple of wins on the board, then I think the confidence will come back and we'll be okay. I do want to make a couple of shout outs to Manny for his incredible effort. I don't know how you walk for 48 hours straight, but he did, and raised a ton of money, and hats off to that lad. He is incredible. I also want to recognise the round of applause for Steve Plant in the 63rd minute. Looked like the entire stadium was applauding, and my wife and I stood up and did the same thing here in Chicago. So respect to both of those guys, and condolences to Steve and Steve's family. So that's it. Up the Wolves, always Wolves. Talk to you soon.
And there's Manny just saying that. And I haven't asked him to come on tonight because he would sleep. I did you mention that earlier? But I think, Manny, if you are watching, can you confirm? I think you've raised over £20,000. So we'll give you a nice little round of applause for that, mate. I just please don't think of doing it for 72 hours next year, because you always try to top whatever you've done the last time. Just 72 hours. I think you'll be literally carried in there, so well done, mate. And it's great that Dave shouted that out. And of course, again, respects to Planty and the 63rd. It was a shock to everyone. And it was really great to see the whole stadium show respect. And Manny's just putting up £20,000. He feels so awake. Amazing, mate. Absolutely amazing. Listen, Manny, if you're about, it'd be great to have you on next week to talk a little bit more about this and get the final figure from you. Right then, let's look ahead to Brentford next week. And Carl, I'm putting my thumbs up, so give us the team hope or the team despair. Josh, Brentford next week.
Yep.
What are you thinking? What's your score prediction?
Tweak of the system slightly. I think stick with the back four, but instead of having Aït-Nouri playing as your left winger, stick someone else in front of him. 4 at the back, 2 in front. Cunha in the 10, 2 wingers, and Larson up top. Giving Cunha the free role behind Larson, and go with Gomez and Forbes as your wingers. Although I think Bellegarde's played all right, but I'll go with 2 out-and-out wingers, Cunha in the 10, and Lamina and Andre behind, all in front of the back 4.
And we're winning
because we don't have out-and-out wingers on that left-hand side at the moment. We're using Aït-Nouri, and then second we go forward, we're completely wide open down that left-hand side. So formation tweak and 2-1 for me.
To the Wanderers.
Yep.
I love it. Will you be there, Josh?
I'm in Amsterdam on a stag do, so we'll try and find somewhere to watch it.
I'm sure you will, mate. Carl has just put up the latest with the poll. It's fairly split, but it's good to hear that that hope still conquers despair just about at the moment. I think that poll would change potentially if we lose to Brentford next week. But next up, cheerful.
Yeah, well, I think I'm hopeful that we're going to get a result at Brentford, Dave, but I also despair at what's going on at the moment. So I think I'm in between of the two teams. I have to sit on the sidelines. If we carry on, noting now that we've lost Bueno, because he's probably not going to be fit for next week. hopefully Dawson will be back.
Well, I think Dawson's got that virus, so hopefully, yeah, he should be fit.
Yeah. Does anyone know what the virus is?
Mate, whatever it is, I'm sending NordVPN down to sort it out.
I heard it was a close relation to tinnitus called no-winnitus. But I think that we might recover from it soon.
What's your score prediction?
I kind of despair at what he's going to do next week at the moment. I can't see us winning unless we go a back five or keep on about it. I just can't. I just don't think we've got the players to play a back four, and I think it's taking everything that's good about us away from our squad by trying to play a different way. And I think the players look a bit lost. So I think we're going to go down 2-1, 3-1.
Is it 2-1 or 3-1? Because goal difference could make a big difference.
Well, we want to win the goal difference charts. At least we'll win something this year. So I'll say 3-1.
So we're going to lose 3-1. Okay. So Josh is a 2-1 win. Jack, your team hope, team despair. What's the score?
I'm kind of in. I think we'll probably get a point next week. Like I said, I just at the minute I can't see the belief there to go and win the game. So I'm going to say probably a 1-1 draw.
A 1-1 draw. So are you kind of like in the middle of that team hope despair at the moment? You sort of like.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Sooty, team hope or team despair, and what's your score prediction?
Well, I'm just reading on these comments here because I've got your live chat on. Somebody's just said that they're decimated by injury. If that's the case, I'm looking at the player.
Wizard's out, isn't he? We were potentially interested in him. He's definitely out, I think.
Well, if they're if these 4 or 5 players are definitely out next week and we don't win there, we want shooting. So I'm going to go a bit positive then. If that's the case, I'll go for a 2-1 win to us. Team despair or team, what was it?
Team hope.
I've lost all hope of even just deciding, Dave. You've always got to have hope, haven't you? Jesus Christ, I've been to places. You're going to be there,
Sooty.
Yes, I'll be there. I've been to places.
I got in the ballot, so I can go.
Yeah, I've been to places like Grimsby and Scunthorpe and shitholes like that on a Tuesday night when it's peeing down with rain, and it took me 4 hours to get home soaking wet. So, is this really despair? The only reason it's despair is because we're constantly lied to, Dave. Boring.
So you're going for the win. So we've got 2 wins, a draw, and of course cheerful, a defeat. Guys, the last part of this show, you've got a couple of minutes if you want to drop any questions for cheerful, for Sooty, for Josh, or for the voice of reason, or all of us. Listen, I'm saying it now. We are winning next week. It's the next week we're going to win that game. We're going to be having an extra time with a little bit of joy, and that hope barometer will move. I'm hoping. I'm still on team hope at the moment.
We've got Man City the following week.
Yeah, but, listen, we'll be on a roll by then. We'll be on a roll. We'll be sitting here in 2 weeks again. What were we worried about? But yeah, can you imagine? If only. If that happens, we'll have to replay this a little bit. Look, any questions? How long how long until we should be worried? Scott Dram wants to know.
Well, I've been worried all season, so I don't think there's any till we're worried. I've been worried since the disastrous transfer window we have, but and then I've been worried about the fact that we couldn't sign a centre half and didn't keep the full back and then didn't play a back five. So I think being worried is something that goes part and parcel being a Wolves fan at the moment.
You worried, Sooty? You worried, Jack? You worried, Josh? Or is it just more concerned or anxious at the moment?
I'm personally not worried. Like I say, I've been in a lot shitter places than where we are at the moment, Dave. So if people are thinking this is dark, then it certainly isn't. But it would be nice, like I say, to just have promises that you've been made carried out. That's the thing that really gets me, Dave, is the contradictory things they keep doing and saying. It's boring. It's just do what you're gonna do what you say.
I agree with that. I think we're all on the same. We're all nodding on the same page of that. Look, don't sell us a dream and then pull it away.
If you can't do it, say we will keep you in the Premier League, but we cannot compete with the big guns. But we will keep you in the Premier League for 9 years out of 10. That's fine. Don't promise us stuff that you cannot provide. Don't.
But equally, Sooty, you do want to win. You want ambition. You want to win something. So the other side to that is if that's all you can do. Thanks very so much. Because look, at the end of this, like whenever Jeff goes or managers, the fans are always going to be there. Managers change, chairmans change, chief executives change, the owners over time will change, and they're custodians of our great club at the moment. And if they Fosun leave us in a better position than when they found us, their legacy will be there for we brought you from there. We've improved the infrastructure. I mean, you can say what you like about Morgan. He did what he did about Compton. He built a stand. He invested money. He sold us on to the next level. And it's all to do with ambition. And if the ambition isn't there anymore, or they just don't feel like they're fed up of playing with us anymore as a plaything, and they just whatever, then get some new owners in that will take us to the next level, and the fan base will look back historically and go, well, yeah, you took us to a next level and then you passed us on. But equally, if you still want to, if you still have the ambition, you've got to back it up. We're not just
the thing is, Dave, we can't be passed on, can we? We can't just go and start supporting someone else. We can't.
No, we can't. Because
we're tied in here. We're tied in here. It's like a ball and a chain around your leg and basically a syringe in your arm. This is our drug. We cannot do without it. And no matter what it throws at us, even if you decide not to go to the games anymore, I would guarantee you now that 5 o'clock every Saturday, the first result you ever look for would be Wolverhampton Wanderers. Doesn't matter whether you go or not. We're invested in it. They can leave whenever they want. We don't mean anything to them. It's a business, Dave.
Well, I would hope that you'd hope that the chairman, after living in Wolverhampton for all these years and stuff like that, would get it by now. But if you look at the likes of Ruben Neves when he left, how much the city meant to him as a player. I know he's gone. Players do leave, but that was genuine from him.
Well, look what Neves did during the week on his Instagram for Steve. He put an Instagram post out instantly.
I know exactly. So you can always see through those that are really mean it and stuff like that. Do you see Gon changing to a back five and maybe putting Lamina or Andre as a third? I don't know where this Andre as a third centre back is. He's not a centre back. He's tiny. He's Lamina shouldn't be playing there either, although he can do a job. And we shouldn't be having a situation or a conversation where we should be even talking about putting Lamina or Andre. I mean, Bruno Lage put Neves in the back, and that was his last game.
I think Dave, people are asking that because they don't want to play a back four. They want to play a back five. Unfortunately, we haven't got any defenders to play there.
Yeah, I don't see them playing the back five. Does anyone else? Because I think the stall's been set.
Not now.
Not now.
He would have changed already. He hasn't got the players to do it now. He had it 2 weeks ago.
He did it against Forest, didn't he? But then obviously Mosquera is injured now. He's taking him happen again now.
No. JS96, realistically, would you replace Gon with? We'll go round Josh, Jack, Sooty, Chris. Just give us a name. It can be anyone, even someone ridiculous if you want.
Conchia.
Who?
Conchia.
out at Porto.
Yeah.
His name's been muted this week. I bet him coming over anyway. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I haven't got a clue. Because you
Jack?
don't know what.
It's the same. I genuinely don't know.
And Chris?
I don't have a name, Dave, but what I would say, if I just look at the Aston Villa game at half time, I believe 72 EFL managers could have managed that team better to the end of the game. So,
and someone else here, I go concierge, Concierge. I don't know.
Concierge.
There you go too, and you can bring your son with him, guys. It's been a great show. Deliberately tried to create some real passionate debate on the stuff tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've tried to break it down. It's another long one tonight, 2 hours, but so much to talk about at the moment. We've had well over 600 of you watching on various platforms all night. There'll be loads more that'll watch it back on catch up, and loads more that'll listen to it on the podcast. We always welcome your thoughts. If you want to get onto one of these shows, all you have to do, it's all right, saying or having a pop or whatever, you're welcome to send us a message. You can send it to admin@alwayswolves.co.uk. You can send a message to our TikTok, to our Instagram, to our Twitter, to our Facebook page. You can come on and have your say, and there's always the link in the description that you can come on and talk as well. So yeah, anyone's always welcome to come on, because we'll always give everyone a say. Finally, again, just to say thank you to the team at Creation Wolf for all their support. And I know that they're helping three businesses that are all run by Wolves fans as well now, which is absolutely fantastic. So if you want your business helped by them, because they'll get you to the top of whatever you want, then get in touch with them at creationwolf.com. Guys, one final word from each of you. Give me 3 words, no more, to end the show for everyone out there. Thinking, Jack, we'll go with you first. 3 words.
Keep the faith.
Nice. You did well there, one with that one. Josh?
Enjoy the roller coaster.
Nice. Can we start having some of these ups rather than this really long down with the odd bump every so? Can we have one, going up? Cheerful.
She's a knob.
Oh, that's the best one, that is.
Sorry, I was talking about.
Producer said that's 4 words. I suppose you've done the E. You've added the E's into. Anyway, Sutty.
I'll second that.
All right. Well, we've small to end with. I'll just finish with this one. Out of darkness.
That's 5.
Out of darkness is 1 word. It's 3 words.
Oh, I thought you were going to carry on with the rest of it then.
I can't have only got 3 words, but everyone else can go.
Come here, Floyd.
It is always darkest before the dawn, boys. Keep the faith. Right. Lots of love to you all. Thanks for joining in the chat. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please smash a like, leave your comments, subscribe if you're new. And we'll be back with all the news during the week. And, of course, the build-up to Brentford and, of course, the after show next week. From all of us to all of you, always Wolves.